Thank you very much, my dear colleagues, my dear guests. As always, this is one of our many events. I am very honored to be with you here today. And I get the impression that with every passing year, the WHO is becoming less and less about health and medical science and more about politics and lobbying. Less about health policies and more about selling and promoting certain products made by pharmaceutical companies, most notably vaccines. WHO has failed humanity in COVID crisis and must be held accountable. They have trampled on human rights and medical ethics and behaved more like public relation agency for those pharmaceutical companies. WHO is corrupt, and it is more corrupt the higher in hierarchy in the organization structure you go. Many of the employees, including top jobs, are linked to private interests following the principle of revolving doors. As you know, WHO is heavily dependent on private donors, such as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Bloomberg Foundation, and Rockefeller Foundation. And of course, WHO is also dependent on big pharmaceutical companies that have a seat on governance board of Gavi. Gavi is another top financial contributor to WHO. Their contribution, the private contributors, and their influence shadows hundreds of member countries, especially the ones in Africa, Asia, and South America. Also, since we are in European Parliament, one of the top financial contributors to the WHO is European Commission, the so-called government of European Union. The behavior of this European Commission in COVID crisis can be described as corruption, incompetence, and disaster. Can you imagine that the one person who arranged everything with Pfizer and also other pharmaceutical companies, Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the Commission, was protected by her political group and never came to a committee hearing to answer some very important questions that deal with billions of euros and hundreds of millions of citizens. No, she never came to that hearing. She avoided it. But then they said, all right, there won't be any hearing in the COVID committee, the special committee. We'll make our own hearing in the bureau, in the presidency of the parliament. But in the end, not even that happened. Not even this tiny piece of smoked and mirrored transparency happened. So, not even this event that was supposed to happen behind closed door ever happened. Is this democracy? Is this transparency? It is not. It is not. And the final report of the COVID committee even failed to report in a proper way on this first step of problems that we had during COVID crisis, and this is transparency. Even on that first step, it failed to deliver. This pandemic treaty that we speak of is nothing more than an attempt by WHO to get more power, more control, and more money. They want to take health policy from sovereign nations to a centralized body, globalist, bureaucratic body, technocratic body. That's not what we want, that's not what I want, this is not why I'm here. I want these policies to remain and to be made at home in our national institutions. I fully support the European Citizens' Initiative, freedom and trust, due to its democratic, legal, and awareness-raising implications. And finally, we must not give up our sovereignty to non-elected, highly corrupt, criminal, private international organization that acts solely for financial gain with every passing year. Thank you.